What is up, everybody? I'm No Lex Given, back with some more Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and there's a lot to talk about. There is a brand new kind of update to Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Quests are coming back into the game. I don't really know what all of those things mean, and I'm not even going to get into any of that today. That's going to be tomorrow's video. For today's video, I'm going to catch you up on all of the games that I played on the previous patch. So first thing was this Galenkron game, which I'm not even really going to look at that much. I was able to grab a pretty early Radio Star, and that was enough for me to commit to. I did mess up the early game, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly. And then I messed up the mid game and the late game as well. I wound up finding a bunch of level 6 characters, but I never really found a cool, cohesive way to put them all together. So game honestly did not go super well. There were a few other games that I played as well. I played another game with Any Stormcoil. That was yesterday's video, and that's actually going to be this video, but not this game. This game didn't go super well for me. I had like a Jeweled McCall that I don't know, I never really got anything off the ground, but I did want to showcase just some of these other ending boards because some of these were pretty cool. Tasman Rome, I identified pretty quickly. So her hero power is start of combat, destroy your lowest health minion, give it stats to your other minions. That's really, really cool. With Taragosa, I believe is the name of this dragon. Wasn't able to find the Taragosas until really late in the game. I had a normal copy, a plain copy, and then I found the golden, the next two copies of that on like the final 2 turns of the game. So wasn't able to scale it that well. Didn't play it super well at the end either. I picked up a Leroy at one point and then realized it's not really a combo unless you play a smaller card than it, and then you can still get away with using your phylactery. And I was able to kill Nadia or Nadina on one of the turns, which gave Taragosa that permanent Divine Shield. So that was kind of cool. Just wasn't totally there, but I do think that Tasman Rome with dragons is a really, really cool synergy that I'd be looking to play in the future. Not sure what other strategies work well with her, but I do think that that could be a good one. It was good enough for 3rd place, but unfortunately no more than that. And then I played a game with Fungal Mancer Flurgle and was able to pick up a triple of both of these. Just a little bit short on the deep blues. I probably should have made this a little bit bigger, but I think my final combat was close. My Pashmars just weren't really paying out, but honestly, I thought this was like a pretty reasonable game overall. Just fell a little bit short, unfortunately, and the hero power, you get a random Murloc. I wasn't really trying to play around that super hard. I just threw in this for like random stuff. I actually can't remember everything that happened in that game. We can look at it for a second, though. I think if we... So this should be the Tasman game here. Or not the Tasman, the Stormcoil game, that's what I meant to say. This is the Tasman, and then this should be the Fungal Mancer, yes. So if we take a look towards the end, there was definitely something that I messed up on that was unfortunate. So this was definitely cool to be able to pick up the Myrmidon off the triple there, and then we can cast the Deep Blues, and then maybe should have just tried to put some stats on the Myrmidon to have it be a little bit better. I don't know. I can't really remember what else happened in that one, to be totally honest, but that's not the main game we're going to focus on with this video. Just showcasing some other stuff. Got a 7th place with Rokara. 7th was kind of surprising, but was a little all over the place, as you can see. I do think there are some cool potential for synergies with Rokara. Kind of got into this Divine Shield guy a little bit late, but Divine Shield's pretty good with it, and especially any Divine Shield that you can continually activate. And then if you can grab an early Blade Collector, I thought that was cool. And I picked Rokora because I realized that Pirates and Mechs were available, so all cleaving was available. And I thought that that would be really fun if we could get a cleave snowball comp kind of going. But the main video that I wanted to showcase today was So this will be the Rakura game. Yes, was my game after that, which was another Innie game. We're going to play Innie Stormcoil, of course, over Mr. Bigglesworth, and we'll see what we can do to kick things off. Just going to pick up the mech that summons two things, and I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, we do get a decent amount of early game summons here. Metal Tooth Leaper, we'll pick up on that, and actually made a small mistake on my fourth turn of the game. I did not want to, is it called Metal, what's it called? I did not want to merge my Lullabot with my Microbot. I should have just played it to the right, but I accidentally merged it. Was just trying to play it and have 4 characters, and instead now I've got a large Microbot with double Metal Tooth Leaper, I believe that this is called. So that's bad for 2 reasons. One is like less characters, but then it like a bigger character, now it's like less likely to die, but less characters is also bad for my hero power, where I want things to die so I can grab some free scrap. So a little bit awkward there. I will get to pick up another Micro Mummy, or I could go for the mistake here, but we're just going to go for a second Micro Mummy. Good with the hero power, good for the Gander, and my hero power this turn gives me a triple for the Micro Mummy. So now I could level up on this turn just to find a level 5 character. That's pretty interesting, and from there I could even faceless the level 5 character. So definitely some interesting options here if I want to lock, if I don't like any of these level 5 options. And I don't love any of them. I mean, Dr. Boombox and Magmalock are strong cards if I want to win, but I think I'd rather just have a random level 6 card and just see where it goes. And briefly, I lock. I do believe I'm going to go back on that, though, and actually just sell off both of these Leapers to pick up the Faceless this turn. This is kind of a bold play. This one's a little bit wacky, a little bit out there, but we do find a pretty cool build-around character that works well with my hero power as well. Fell Stomper is going to reward me for doing the thing that I already probably want to do on Innie, which is just play a lot of summons and then pump up my whole team with that while I'm generating econ from Innie. So seems like it could be cool. Let's see how it goes. Obviously we're gonna get wrecked in this combat because I sold off all of my units for the turn, but we take a decent amount of damage here thanks to Nomi. I guess it's 11. It's not the worst thing in the world, but that will put me down to 8th place. So we're kind of trailing a little bit far behind, but if I'm gonna play some summons, seems like a great time to slam onto some bananas. And Puppbot's good too, because Puppbot with its Divine Shield will get utility out of the Fell Stomper. So I think we turned this around pretty quickly. I think that we were in a pretty awkward space, but very quickly here we're able to make this into a quite respectable board. I lead with my Risen Rider, so that way everything gets pumped up at the start of the combat. Like I said, that is going to mean that Puppbot is able to do a pretty nice job trading with a 2-for-1 there, and then I'm able to clean up my opponent pretty nicely. So I think a very strong turnaround, and even though I think that my move last turn was quite bold and I wouldn't recommend it, it worked out for me in the end. And Fell Stomper just has a lot of power that we're able to abuse, and now I just want to look for more things that summon to put on the board. I'm going to get rid of the Faceless, pick up 2 more summoning cards here. Could go for a Rat. Pack Rat could also go for Deflectobot. I think that could be good. It's not good with the Beast synergy, but it's good with Oni or Innie. So I'm like kind of conflicted on which of these directions, which of these paths I should go down here and what exactly I want to do, but ultimately decide to roll past the Deflectobot and just see what else we can find. I'd love to find some more Banana Slammas while we are on tier 4 here. Could potentially try to go for the Xylobones, but don't think that's going to be super useful. And then this turn I just sell off the Micro Mummy and pick up Reanimating Rattler just to start getting my board Reborn. Start getting my board reborn. That it was like kind of like a tongue twister, just kind of melted my brain there for a second. But yeah, this is something that's always really good to do. Just give all of your beasts reborn, and then grab additional. It's mostly like additional security. It kind of acts as like a divine shield-esque thing, but then there's also obvious synergy with it and Banana Slamma. So happy to pick up the Rattler here, and I think we're gonna be in a good spot. We've still got a lot of different summoning things. I decide to sell off the Micro Mummy and keep in the Pup Bot, just because the Divine Shield makes it a great target for all of those Fell Stomper triggers. So I did think that this was a good way to go about it, and looks like I am going to be strong enough here to grab a win. So pretty good stuff. We'll have to get through all of these Microbots, but we will be able to do so, and we will walk away with a victory. Not too much damage, but still a win against one of the lobby leaders feels pretty good. And we get a mistake off of our hero power this turn, which is kind of good actually, because it's a beast while also being a mech from the hero power. And then this turn we have the chance to pick up 2 Leapers, and we could go Leaper plus Rattler, and definitely something that I consider for a second. And then I realized that you can rearrange characters in the shop, so I just played around with that for a second. Never really realized that you could do that before, and I always forget that you can use battle cries, and maybe could you use like bananas and blood gems on things in the shop? I'm pretty sure you can use blood gems on things in the shop, and I've never tried it. I will have to try that at some point. But I do a little bit more rolling, find another Banana Slamma, and I will throw that in along with the Sly Raptor. Gonna sell something off. Could have even not played the Raptor this turn, so that way I was more likely to have the Rattler land on the Slamma, but I'm also fine if the Rattler decides to land on the Raptor. I think that that would be good too. And then I find another Rattler, and because I'm up against the Ghost here, I'm just going to sell 3 things to buy this Rattler, so that way I'm just increasing the amount of unborn triggers that I have, and that'll get me closer to full build sooner. So I thought that this was good. Not really that risky, I don't think, as we play up against the Ghost. I think it's fine. And then, interestingly, one of the Rattlers gives Reborn to the other Rattler. So now I'll keep that one around because it has some synergy here with Banana Slamma. And I guess that this video is probably spoiled. It's going to be hard to resist the temptation to put one of those Sin Runner Blanchies in the thumbnail for it, because we just made such a sweet Sin Runner Blanchy, and I believe that's one of the minions getting removed from the game. So I'm not going to have the opportunity to use that in a sweet thumbnail in the future. So you do have a little bit of a hint to where this one is going. We're going to make some fun stuff happen in this one, and yeah, I guess we can jump ahead a little bit. The thing is, I don't remember exactly like what I find on any particular turn, so I don't want to skip past anything too much, but I feel like I don't find anything just yet here. I look at the metalhead. No, let's roll. We got a bunch more gold here. Are we gonna find anything else this turn? I feel like no, but let's just watch it. Okay, we find the Baskill. So that's one of the puzzle pieces that we are eventually going to assemble. Baskill plus Blanchy allows you to create a really big character in your hand that then you get to summon and get a whole bunch of stats with Banana Slamma. So I kind of had an idea that I wanted to go in this direction just because it seemed like a lot of fun. And Blanchy is one of the best beasts to put stats on. So for this turn, I'm just going to put the stats on the Baskill just because maybe it'll be useful with those additional stats. I'm not sure. At the very least, it doesn't seem like it will hurt to have additional stats on Baskill. And then this is kind of like a storybook Brawl comp-ish. Not too many people played it, but Mordred comps were really cool. You would pump up the thing in your hand, and then you'd play a bunch of bear stains, and when you summoned that big thing, it would get just ridiculous stats off the bear stain. And it was one kind of like unique way to abuse bear stain, in this case Banana Slamma, that I just think is a lot of fun, and we're definitely gonna have some fun in this one. So one of my bananas grabs a reborn trigger here, so now if I triple those bananas, that one will just fully have reborn, and probably don't need the Rattler after this, so I'm just going to be looking for other ways to flesh out my board, and I'm going to be hoping that, well, like I said, it's kind of actually tough for the Banana Slamma to get scammed, and the one did get attacked into, but the other one is much more likely to at least give us some value because of the fact that it has reborn, and we can see just how far that value goes here. We really want the pack rat to die first. Let's see if we can get that 50-50. Oh yes, well, yeah, we're kind of, well, never mind. It does actually wind up dying, but our pack rat is still going to be able to trade the rats off with Bran, so it doesn't really matter, but it could have been cool for pack rat to die while the Fell Stomper was still in play, and then all of those rats just gain a bunch of stats. So that could have been really, really great, actually. But still quite good. I think we pick up a free Micro Mummy. By the way, I don't think, because there is a small consideration here. Like, I just saw how good Rack Pat was with my current comp. I could just try to start to put stats onto Rat Pack with the Scourgefin, Scourfin, whatever that Murloc is called, and then summon Rat Pack with Baskill. I think we can just do better. So I'm going to keep rolling here for the Sin Runner Blanchy, and I basically just do a full roll down this turn, don't find anything. Let's skip ahead a little bit. I might throw, yeah, I'm just going to throw the Baskill in there because it got the +5/+5 from the Scourfin last turn. I just don't want to waste all of those stats, so I want to get that in and just make sure I'm being as strong as possible. We do get Reborn on the second Banana Slamma, as we did not find anything else of value this turn, so we will just roll with this, and then pretty decent with double Banana Slam. I get to make something with 40 attack, and then we'll get to do that again in just a moment. So yeah, pretty good board overall. The Rattler is just short of being able to clear the Boombox, but then the Fell Stomper takes it over the top, and we actually find another Banana Slamma off the summon from the Raptor. So triple Slamma. If they're ever able to kill one of my other things, we'd be able to make a bunch of stuff. They're not able to take anything out, and I actually get to take them out here. This is 25 damage. It's a lot of damage with the Fell Stomper hanging around for the end of combat plus triple Slamma. Yeah, so that's a kill. That's going to put us into the top 6. We could take another Scourfin here. We could cut the Rattler, but I think that that's just a little bit too risky, and I really, really want to find Sin Runner. I think about the Crocolisk, but I think I gotta find the horse, and not that horse, the horse in the thumbnail for this video. So I'm just gonna keep on rolling. There's a Leroy, there's a Murloc. We could throw in some Scam. It's also not bad with Baskill, but I'd really like to find that Blanchy so that we can start growing it as well with the Scourfin. We're leaving some stats on the table by not doing so. We do get to pick up a Banana Slamma triple here, and this will also give me a tier 6 discovery, so this could be cool, it could be fun. What do we get? We get Polarizing Beatboxer, Rot Rock, and Omega Buster. Well, Bustin' makes me feel good here. We get to take that with our hero power and get some nice power out of that, and then we actually do find a Sin Runner Blanchy. So Omega Buster is going to give us a lot of power on the table, while the Sin Runner Blanchy gives us a lot of power in our hand. And we're making use of those stats this turn because we do have the Baskill. So this is pretty good. If there was a way to dream, I would actually dream out of my hero power here, because if that gives me a character, two things it can do. The Scour Fin can go onto that instead of onto the Blanchy, and then we'll wind up summoning that instead of summoning the Blanchy off of Baskill. So both of those things could be a little bit awkward. Hopefully we can avoid that. Well, obviously we're only at 5 out of 12 right now, so we're going to be okay. And here is our Blanchy. It summons up to a 33-24, but the cool thing is when it resummons, it keeps those stats, which means if Banana Slammer were still alive, it would actually pump itself again based off of those original stats. Here we'll see it just resummons as a 56-24, but if Banana Slammer was still in play, it would triple again, and that's how we're gonna get to those crazy numbers that you saw in the thumbnail. I'm just assuming at this point, you guys are spoiled. You know where this is going eventually. But this is still a really, really sick ride. We get to hit my opponent for 11 here. Feels pretty good. And then we have a boombox in our hand from our hero power. I'll probably just cycle through that so that way Scour Fin is more likely to hit the Blanchy. That's going to be important. And we'll see what else we could pick up. We could pick up an Upbeat Duo. I think we can. I think that we're powerful enough here that we can just try to add some more stats to the board. So I'm going to pick up the Upbeat Duo. Don't remember if I find anything else this turn. I feel like I might actually find one more banana. There we go. Yeah, I didn't want to say it too quickly. Oh, we also find a second Baskill. That could be kind of interesting. So let's get rid of the Dr. Boombox here. Throw in another Baskill. Pick up another Banana Slammer. So I'm going to want to play this second banana, and then I'm going to want to play Upbeat Duo as well. This will leave me with a Baskill in hand that could potentially take the Scour Fin from the Blanchy, but that's a risk that I think is worth taking because Baskill is just going to give me additional insurance at some point. I'm going to want to cut the Upbeat Duo, and I'm also going to want to cut the Raptor. Now, the way that that worked out, the Scour Fin is... Oh, wow, the Scour Fin actually can hit the Blanchy. Okay, I was like, I remember this Baskill staying a 6-2, which becomes important later. But that's... never mind. But okay, so you can... I actually never realized that you can summon with Baskill and still hit the card in your hand with your Scour Fin. I always thought that the order was super important, and it is... But we will get those stats on the Blanchy for the next turn. So it makes us a little bit weaker this combat, but we still get an absolutely massive Blanchy, which is cool. Now, my opponent is doing, speaking of cool, some really cool stuff here with making a bunch of hands. They've got Bran, they've got Metalhead, and they've got Titus there. So they are able to do some cool stuff, and they hit me for 17 down to 4. But we're going to do some cool stuff as well. And you know this video isn't over. You haven't seen the thumbnail just quite yet. We're going to find another Blanchy at some point, and we're going to see what we can do. We're also making another Banana Slammer this turn, and that is obviously ridiculous. So from here, I suppose I'm just gonna roll down and try to find another Blanchy because I basically have everything else that I want. I guess I would also take another Banana Slammer right now. That could also be pretty good, but I think we're more or less just gonna roll down and... Oh yeah, Darkrai Enchanter. Can I afford to play that? I probably could if I cut the Scour Fin, right? Because they're both kind of like greedy-ish options. This is tough. It's tough to make the room. I don't want to cut the Raptor. I think that in order to play this Darkrai Enchanter, I've got to cut the Scour Fin, and then I'll just roll, and then I find another Blanchy. So this starts to get a little bit crazy. I don't think I'm going to worry about that for right now, though. I could sell out of the Raptor and the 5/7 Raptor, the Fell Stomper, and the Lullaby to pick up the Blanchy. But I feel like that could be a little bit risky at the same time. So I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I'm just going to lock onto Blanchy, and also I'm kind of locking onto Tunnel Blaster here. There's potentially some interesting stuff that I can do with that. But for right now, I'm just going to be picking up a pair of bananas, and that is going to give me a really big Blanchy in the future. For this turn, I still have a really big Blanchy right now, 78, and we are able to trade it off there, so it gets up to almost 500 health, and that's just going to be enough to walk the rest of this combat. So pretty sweet stuff already, and as you can tell, we're going to get even bigger. Now, part of what's a little bit awkward here is I did toss my Scour Fin in order to play the Darkrai Enchanter, which I do think was probably right. I had to give up the scaling out of my Scour Fin, but there's not like that many turns left in the game, so scaling isn't as important as making sure we're just getting as much stats out of the Slamma. But I could see going the other way just because a little bit of stats early on goes a long way later. So maybe this will wind up being a mistake. But for right now, we are in the top 4. We're going to grab that Banana Slamma triple, and then we also have some other fun things in the shop that we can grab. So this Tier 6 Discovery doesn't really give me anything great initially, but then I actually, and I brought this up earlier on in the video, I can use Uther Lightbringer to pump up the Sinrunner Blanchy that's currently in the shop for +12/+12. So pretty good value. I think that was a really heads-up play that I definitely wouldn't have found that play like 2 weeks ago when I was playing, but I'm getting better at just recognizing interesting lines like that, and that is just a ton of power, because you now, instead of 9-tupling a 3/3, we're 9-tupling a 15/15, so those stats are really going to go crazy. I do think about picking up a Leroy here. It's a little bit awkward with the Tunnel Blaster. That's kind of a nombo, and ultimately looks like I do decide to just roll past that, and I guess hang on to the Upbeat Duo for another second. I might sell out of Upbeat Duo here, though. I can't remember what that mouse was kind of indicating there, if I just wanted to get the Tunnel Blaster in, because one thing that I'm like kind of concerned about is not getting full value from both of my Bascules, and I figured if I play Tunnel Blaster, that's going to crack into one of my Bascules. It's also going to clear any Divine Shields my opponents might have, so it seemed like a good idea to just run a Tunnel Blaster here. And I was kind of being cheeky earlier when I brought up the fact that the stats probably wouldn't matter on the Bascule. Could try to triple Bascule here. That would give me some additional room, but I also don't really care about the additional room, because the first thing I want to do in any of these combats, by the way, good use of the Tunnel Blaster there, able to clear out a bunch of Divine Shields from my opponent's side of the board, but the first thing I want to do is summon 2 horses out of my Bascules while my Banana Slammas are still in play. So it's not super important to get more board space by tripling the Bascules, because I want to summon those right at the start of the combat, so it doesn't really matter if we make room, because if we make room, I'd have to play a character down to ensure that I got all of the value. And speaking of value, there is a tripled up horse that also got tripled up twice. 1,000 horse. Maybe this will be the thumbnail, because this is pretty big already. But yeah, I'll make this the thumbnail right here. That'll be good enough and still keeps the rest of the video spoiler free. We're getting bigger. We're making bigger horses. I'm not going to lock myself into that right now. But yeah, we're going to make some absolutely massive horses still yet as we move into potentially the finals against Zephyrus here. If Zephyrus is able to take out the Murglemancer, then we will be in the finals right now. So that's what it's looking like, and that's probably going to be the case. The Zephyrus had that really powerful undead comp, so now I just got to figure out how to best deal with that. And I do think that Tunnel Blaster could be cool if you're able to kill off a bunch of your opponent's cards early. Then with the Tunnel Blaster here, right, then, oh, and by the way, Bone Mare also could have been really good on a Blanchy, but you'd have to Bone Mare it while it's in the shop, so that's the only way around that kind of awkward. We do potentially get to make use of Upbeat Duo this turn as well, and grab another Banana Slamma, and it feels like we're probably going for that. I don't think that there's really a huge reason not to. We'll see if we're able to spend my gold on anything this turn. Looks like no, unless we want to sell out of the Tunnel Blaster. Actually, Mama Bear's kind of big. It gives +4/+4/+5/+5, I forget, to the Blanchies immediately. So I might want to get rid of the Fell Stomper, actually, and hang on to the Tunnel Blaster. And now the Tunnel Blaster starts to make a lot of sense. Now it's like effectively protecting the Mama Bear and all of the Banana Slammers by killing off Baskill while all of those things are still in play. I'm going to keep the Upbeat Duo in here just for one more turn, grab one more Banana Boy, and then I'll replace the Duo with a Banana Slammer. And that's like probably full build. And we'll see how big of Blanchy's we can make this turn, and we'll see if we kill my opponent here as well. Or if they kill us. They did have a really strong board last time we played against them, and if they can make some big numbers, they can maybe chip away at some of these horsies and slowly take them down. But we'll do our best job here to take my opponent down instead. Let's see what we got. We get one more Banana Slammer, and then how are they looking as far as this Tunnel Blaster goes? Well, Tunnel Blaster now only kills 2 of my opponent's characters, but one of them was attacking first there. So we really only got a 2-for-1, which is still good. Don't get me wrong. And you can see how, like, this board, I kind of thought Tunnel Blaster would be good, as like 3 things could currently die from Tunnel Blaster, but I'm gonna need like an upgraded one in order to make that really work. But speaking of work, we get a huge horse to kick things off here. One of my Banana Slammers goes down, and then we'll just have to trade off with some of their other things. My second Slammer goes down, so my other horse is not going to be nearly as big, but we already got all of the value that we need with a horse over 1,000. That'll be enough to clean it up, but not get the kill, importantly. We'll only hit my opponent for 10, down to 7, which means we got one more battle to really give it our best. And I think I'm actually going to cut the Tunnel Blaster here. I think we can do better without it. So I'm going to cut the Tunnel Blaster, I'm going to throw in another Banana Slammer, and then I'm going to look for one more interesting card to throw on the board. Might just be Selfless Hero. Selfless Hero, if that can give a Divine Shield to a Blanchy, that's also pretty fantastic, so that could be something that I'm looking for. I'm not totally sold on Selfless Hero, though, and I would be interested if there were other cool options to play on this final turn, even just like a scam of really any sort. Though I think Sin Runner Blanchy is something that I can't afford to do. I think that that just puts all of my eggs in one horse and is unnecessarily risky. So I'm not going to go for the Sin Runner Blanchy triple, unfortunately. I did think about it. I thought it would be cool, but it would be awkward if it winds up essentially like then being a throw. And I'd rather just diversify my threats, play 2 separate horses, and see what we can do with that. So this turn's just going to be a full roll down. I do find a Cobra, so that's potentially our best next unit after this. I'm just going to sell through the War Gear, pick up a Rattler, and then throw down a Banana Slammer and a Rattler. That'll potentially give one of my Banana Slammers Reborn, or, well, it's just going to wind up landing on Mama Bear. I'll spoil it for you there. Not really a spoiler. Happened at the same time, but still it's a little bit of extra insurance, and doesn't really hurt. Just having that pad in one additional character earlier on will make it less likely that my Banana Slammers attack early, which now means it's more likely that I'll be able to grab even more value from my horses if more cards can attack into those. So that's kind of the idea here. We just really want to hope that all of my opponent's cards attack into my Sin Runner Blanchy's, and we actually get really, really lucky here. Oh, I guess one of my bananas goes down, but then my opponent is locked on to my horses and starts taking them out. So I do get to make one more big horse for 3k before we're done, and then my secondary horse isn't going to be quite as big, but we'll still resummon here to a healthy 1k. I'll probably keep this one spoiler free, so that way you don't know how the very last combat of the game went. But these were pretty big horses, 3k and 1k respectively. That's going to be enough to grab me a win. 98 ratings points. It puts me right below 7,600, I believe. We'll look at it in a second, but I believe this brought me back up to 75, somewhere around there, 75, 85. There we go. So pretty good showing. I thought this was just a really fantastic board. You're not really going to be able to replicate it, like I said, because I believe Sin Runner Blanchy is one of the characters that was cut. from the most recent balance patch. Talk a little bit more about that in tomorrow's video, and maybe I'll play a game on the new patch as well. But for today, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace.